My game plan? Get the best, without the fuss. That's why I love Fairway. Everything I need, easy to find. And a hometown atmosphere that just hits different. Fairway, your home court advantage.
What is up, Fanatics? Welcome into the first Cyclone Fanatic basketball pregame show of the season. I'm live at the Sanford Pentagon here in South Dakota. It's a cool arena. I've never been before. Iowa State back in the Sanford Pentagon for the first time since Steve Prohm's first game as the head coach of the Iowa State Cyclones. That was all the way back in 2016 against Colorado. Excited for this one. The Cyclones play Mississippi State tonight. The Bulldogs, NCAA tournament team 3 years in a row. They actually have had the same exact record 3 years in a row. It's either 22-10 or 21-10. They're about as steady as they come under Iowa native Chris Jans. Chris Williams is going to join me in just a second. He's having some technical difficulties. We'll get him up whenever he is on. But so far, takeaways, 95% Cyclone fans and maybe 5% fans of nobody. I don't think I've seen a Mississippi State fan yet. So it's going to be a Cyclone-heavy crowd tonight. Here's Chris Williams.
No Mississippi State fans made the track?
No,
that's disappointing.
And thank God, because I don't want to hear any stupid cowbells.
They do that in basketball?
I don't know. I feel like I'm at an Iowa Barnstormers game if they were able to do that. The indoor, that should be illegal to have them indoors. But anyways, Chris, some trivia for you that the viewers, the listeners already heard about. Tonight is Iowa State's first neutral site game that's not in the form of a preseason or postseason tournament or the Big Four Classics since when?
The Creighton game when Vanderbeek hit the three at Wells Fargo Arena?
No, that you overshot it a little bit. Steve Prohm's first game in this very building against the Colorado Buffaloes in 2016.
That game was in Sioux Falls.
It was.
I would not have guessed that. I would have never guessed that one. Yeah.
But yeah, that's
I like Sioux Falls.
It's cool.
Yeah, when TJ was the head coach at South Dakota State, I used to go there for the conference tournament every year.
So it's not this arena.
I know, but just
what
the
I
town.
learned.
Yeah, it's not that arena. There's like a big arena that's kind of like their.
It's like a mile away. I was looking on the maps.
It's really cool because it's connected to like this giant hotel, and that's where all the teams fans stay, and they all just hang out in the hotel and just run their mouths all week. It's so much fun. I love the Summit tournament. Good basketball town up there. They really like basketball. I know they enjoy these games, and the Chris Jans thing's cool. I honestly, Jake, you know more about Mississippi State than I do. I think this is going to be a really tough game for Iowa State.
I'm with you. I just think you're kind of playing, in a way, a mirror of yourself. Not an identical style. There's not really another team that plays exactly like Iowa State, but you're going to play a team that is really physical. They're really athletic, and those are the types of teams that has given Iowa State problems in the past. The good news is this team is pretty new, too. They've got an established scorer in Joshua Hubbard, who's a really, really good basketball player. But they've got a lot of new pieces, too, that they're working together. And I don't know how much of the North Alabama game you caught last week. I watched, like, the last 30 minutes of it.
Be a total liar if I told you I watched that game. I'm not going to do it.
North Alabama led by 10 in the second half of that game. In Mississippi State, they turned on the burners. They figured things out and ended up winning by almost 25 points. So it's not like this is a very well-established team in the season, like Iowa State isn't either.
What I'm saying, Jake, is I think a lot of more casual fans will look at this and go,
Mississippi State.
Right, because it's not like a blue blood. It's not what you would think of as like a really great basketball school. Good team, great coach with dudes like juniors and seniors,
and a lot of big guys down low that are experienced.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a really great challenge. I would still pick Iowa State to win the game, but I think this is a close basketball game, and I wouldn't be surprised if Iowa State lost it. It wouldn't shock me at all. But I do think Iowa State will win. You've got the crowd, you've got all that stuff in your advantage, but I think this will be a really tight game tonight.
Yeah, I like the crowd aspect. I also, part of me likes whenever the other team's best player is a guard, a small guard at that, because we've seen it in the past where Taman Lipsey and other guys on the perimeter can make life really difficult for smaller guards. Tonight you're going to see, I'm sure, Taman, Killian, Nate Heisey, maybe some Dom Nelson, Jamarian Bateman. You're probably going to see all of those guys take turns with Hubbard. And if you can just make him work, make him take tough shots, he's still probably going to get his. He's going to get 20, but can you make it 20 points on 8 of 21 shooting? If you do that, you probably win this game.
Yeah, I would agree. Good test for Torrey tonight too, right? Like that's kind of what I have circled. Yeah. Don't you think Iowa State puts him on what's the kid's name again? Say his name
Hubbard.
Again. Hubbard.
I would
don't you think
so.
That's how Iowa State starts?
I mean, the way Iowa State's approached the first 2 non-conference games with Taman and Torrey in the game, Torrey's been more of the primary defender. And that leaves Taman to play free safety, if you will. And I don't think there's anybody in college basketball that's better at anticipating where passes are going, jumping, tipping passes than Taman is. So when you can take Taman off ball, which again, he's still an elite on-ball defender, and we will see him on Hubbard tonight at points, but when he doesn't have to be the primary guy on ball, using all of that energy, I think it's really good for this defense, and we'll get to see Torrey tested. Creighton didn't have a ton of great guards, in my eyes at least, that Torrey was guarding, so this will be certainly his biggest test yet in his college career.
Yeah, I'm excited too because I felt like that Grambling game. This is why I always tell fans that if you're like a real basketball junkie, that those games are so much fun because you can watch. It's basically like you get to watch a scrimmage and coaches and rotations and all that stuff. And I was really glad that Bateman and Buchanan and all those guys were rewarded a little bit. And I was already getting annoyed with the Bateman is a bust talk after like 2 times of it was like
after one real game.
Yeah, like come on, like that dude. He looks the part to me. I'm excited to see those guys. And I listen. I'm not saying he's going to go out and set the world on fire tonight, but that was encouraging. I thought from game 2 because it's hard to take much of anything from those 2 games leading up to tonight, which is kind of like the start of the season, is how I view it at least. But that was encouraging to see just everybody, have some positive vibes flowing into this one. And those guys now, the other thing too that I like about how this is set up, because it does feel like game 5 in that sense for those guys. And I know that's kind of a bit of a mirage for only in the sense that they've played those games in the past, but not in front of fans, not where people are booing and cheering and, live arenas, all that stuff. And get it, the other teams do it too. This is not like just Iowa State has this advantage, but for a guy like, a guy like Bateman, maybe he played himself out of that already, that early season slump or whatever. Otz has told me privately, publicly, he said it in press conferences that no one works better on a day-to-day basis as a freshman than Bateman has. Really good to see that. I want to see him carry that on tonight. Let's see a little bit, even if it's on the defensive end. Let's let that juice flow a little bit.
Yeah, and for Bateman, I feel even guilty talking about any of his struggles when it was 2 games that didn't count.
Yeah.
And then 12 minutes of action in the first game of the season. A lot of it just seemed mental to me. And what's the best way to break out of a mental barrier, a slump? Hit a few shots. And he made one open shot last Thursday in Hilton, and then he hit 2 pretty tough threes. So I'm not saying that he's going to go out there and score 15 tonight, but it would not shock me whatsoever if Iowa State was able to win the game, and part of Bateman hitting 2 or 3 threes. That it would not shock me in the slightest.
We will see physical, big, long, strong guys in the paint tonight.
Yeah.
For
and
Mississippi State.
Buchanan's had some foul problems, so that's something to keep an eye on. You might be seeing some Mulder. I would guess.
Yeah. Don't you see Mulder to pick up a few fouls? Like throw him out there, let him just rough around a little bit?
Yeah, and the way that Otts has talked about Plata, it's that he's still adjusting to the physicality of the game speed, which is why I would guess we get Mulder off the bench first. And if anything, if you need a guy to, if things get real dicey, if you really need a guy to go pick up some fouls, you can throw Plata in there for a couple minutes. It wouldn't shock me at all to see all 3 guys, but I think you're right. You see Mulder in there, I'd be shocked if he has anything less than 3 fouls because you just got to go in, bring the punch, bring the physicality. You've got 3 guys that you can play down there, and hopefully you can keep Buchanan out of foul trouble until late in the game.
I like Jay Bird's comment. He's watching on YouTube. He says, we might have the best defensive guards we've seen at Iowa State in
TJ
some
said
time.
it a couple. He said it a couple times already. Not best, but on media day he compared it to his first team as far as defensive guards.
I feel like Buchanan fits that mold too in the post. Like I don't know if he's the best. Like feels like Hassan Ward would have something to say about that, but Buchanan just has that natural length and feels like when they went out and got him, it was like a direct response to the Deshaun Jackson thing last year.
Completely agree. That's why I was never too worried about losing Oscar Clough or losing him. They never had him. It was, yes, Clough is going to be the flashy. He's a rebounder. But when
I forgot about that guy. Like I just completely moved.
But when I saw they went straight to Buchanan, watch some film, all they need out of that position, be able to dunk the ball, hit a couple layups, clean up the glass, be able to move with
pass
guards,
it out to 22,
and be a good passer. And that's so far there hasn't been anything with Buchanan that's shown me that he can't do any of that, and he's only going to get better the more he adjusts. Because he's told us in press conferences that it is just a unique system. It's a very unique system defensively for a big to learn, and almost all of his problems so far have been mental and being in the right spots. And I thought he had his best game as a Cyclone against Grambling State. Hopefully that continues into tonight.
All right, Jake, I know you want to go out and shoot some of the pregame stuff, so get out of here. Thanks, brother. We appreciate you. I doubt I'll see you after the game.
Yeah, probably not.
I'll ask Rob if he wants to jump.
I can talk during TJ's press conference. I worry what he might do to me if I keep interrupting him.
He's going to come up, pop the head off of your neck.
Yeah, we won't do that. The post-game presser, it's right back there. So
we're not going to put you in that situation.
It's a one-stop shop here with media meal, press conference, workroom. It's a good setup up here in Sioux Falls. Thanks for having me.
All right, Jake Brend is in Sioux Falls, and he'll be covering tonight's game for us at Cyclone Fanatic. I'll be here right after the game to give you guys a little analysis on what we saw. We do not do halftime shows during basketball. Sorry. It's just too much. It's too small of a game. It's too short of games. But we'll start doing that, like our normal coverage. For these games that matter, for the bye games at home, we're not going to do pre- and post-game shows. And we'll start doing these with the women's games too, as those things come around the corner. Talked to Chelsea Poppins the other day. She's on board. Leah Nelson will be around, part of our game day coverage as always. We love doing this for you guys. I love having the interaction on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. And we'll be back right here after the game, all across Cyclone Fanatic. Later.